Hi there, this is Mary again, and this is Dreamy Goat Design Studio's video on all the different fibers you might want to dye with. I would recommend right now you never do what I just did, and I decided to dye the whole thing. All the many fibers, way more complicated than you want to take on, so don't do as I did, do as I say. Choose one fiber and stay with that while you're learning to dye with natural dyes. Let's start with my choices and then we'll go to the class demo yarns, okay? Choice number one is all the spinning fibers. I love to spin, and my little business, Dreamy Goat Design Studio, mostly focuses on spinning fibers for, obviously, the spinner. I have 13.5 ounces of various unspun fibers here, so let's take a look at them. The first is merino tussa, 80-20. That means 80% of it is merino wool and 20% of it is tussa silk. The tussa silk has been bleached. Normally it's a honey color. So now we have a nice kind of ecru colored 8 ounces of comb top. You never want to use carded bats or carded roving. Just use top, not anything carded to dye with. The carded fiber will melt down too much. Okay, I had scoured and mordanted these in white mesh bags, but I'm going to take those away, and when I go to dye, I'm going to use bags that I've already dyed with. You don't want to use colored bags when you're mordanting because the color will be pulled out by the mordant and it will stain your fiber. So I switch over. I don't want to lose all my white bags, so I have kind of a pile of white bags and colored bags. All right, merino comb top. The next is a beautiful merino fleece. You have seen her in the very first video on fiber options. This is Faith. This is Peggy Agnew's of Red Creek Farms. This is her beautiful girl. And what do I have here? I believe I have 4 ounces of her. I have a very dark mohair lock from Sandy Young's, forgot her name. Sandy Young's fiber.
Buckeye Farms.
Buckeye Farms. Thank you, Roger. That is my personal videographer and also my husband speaking. Thank you. This is very dark. I didn't do much of it because I thought when we are going to dye Osage orange, that will be our first dye that we will look at. That's a bright golden yellow, but I'm not sure it won't get swallowed up with this dark gray mohair. And this strange little thing is silk noil. This is the waste of silk as it's being prepared. It breaks apart when it's dry, and it makes little nubs that you can put into whatever it is you card, and it's a nice little pop of color. All right, so these are my spinning fibers, 13.5 ounces, and they will go in the Osage orange pot of yarn a little later today. They've all been scoured, they've all been mordanted, they're ready to go. Now, materials. I haven't done this very often. This is kind of new and exciting to me. And by the way, I have a colored bag here, but I'm not going to use any bags when I throw them in the pot. They don't need it. So the very first thing we're going to see, besides this paper towel, is habitized silk. It's just a sample. It's just a square. Okay. And so too, this beautiful wool flannel. It's also just a square for sample purposes. I'm going to be very interested to see what they do with the yellow. The last piece of fabric is actually a silk chiffon scarf. It's a blank, and we'll dye it up the golden yellow that Osage orange will give us, and then I think between Roger and me we will Nuno felt it, okay, with additional colors on top. So those are my 3 fabrics that will go into the pot. And last, and by the way, fabric is so light, I think that's like a little over 1.5 ounces, okay? So if you do fabric, you really want to pad your dye pot, so to speak, with something else, yarn, something else, because you need the weight. Otherwise, you are dyeing in such small increments. It's a waste of your time, and also it's just such a little job. Okay, back to yarn. The first yarn is samples that will appear in the second round of the handbook that I'm putting together. More about that later. It's mohair blend, it's a silk and wool blend, and it's targy. And some of you are using the targy for your dyeing. It's really lovely. It fluffs up. It's very soft. It's a lovely yarn. These will go into a pot, into a bag before it goes into the pot. And last but not least, and this is the stuff we've all been waiting for, is the yarn that I'm going to be using to demonstrate the possibilities. I have here, this is the Klickitat, this is the BFL. If you didn't order the targy, and if you're not using your own fiber, you probably have ordered the Klickitat BFL yarn, 1,000 yards per pound, and that's what I'm going to be using for the demos throughout the study groups. Okay, as far as the Osage orange demonstrations go, you will see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these hanks I've made. Each hank is half an ounce. You have, if you've bought your yarn through me, you have an ounce, so double this. And you would have had either 4 or more of you actually would have had 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only have 5. So a little later, probably we'll post it as an actual message in the text. I will talk, as in the group texting. I will talk about the possibilities you have, because I'm only showing you 5 yarns. You have 4 or 8, and so you can mix and match a little more, and I want to talk about
the group
the
postings, not textings.
Postings, not textings. Thank you. I love it. Okay, I have 5 here. Let's see what I'm doing with them, because I can't even remember myself. That's why, obsessive compulsive that I am, I take copious notes. And that's also because I do a lot of dyeing and I just have to keep things straight, and I can no longer do it in my head. So I'm looking down in one of my little boxes here that says, this first hank is going to go into my pot of Osage orange. It will be what I call the first bath pot, and it will be a bright golden yellow. I'm going to put a second hank as well in that same pot. It will also be the same color. They'll come out the same, but a little later I'm going to set this aside, and I will ultimately put this one into an indigo vat, so I will have a bright, deep, rich golden yellow and a bright, deep green. All right, the third one I'm also going to put into the Osage orange pot, but tomorrow morning when I take all of these out, I will set this one into an iron post bath, and I'll show you how to do that on the next video. And hopefully we'll get kind of a muted olive green out of this. So already we've got 1, 2, 3 colors. Now what do we do with these? I'm going to take these off. I'm going to not put them in the first bath. Instead, I'm going to wait till tomorrow when we take all of this 19 ounces of fiber out of our dye pot. We'll still have color in the dye pot. It's now called the second bath. And we will put this and some other stuff that I've mordanted into the second bath, and we'll get paler yellows. I hope, I believe that's the plan. Now remember, we have 2 of these, so I'll get 2 pale yellows, but what am I going to do with one of them? It's going to go into the indigo vat later down the road, and I'll have a paler green. So for me, we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors, and I think it's great fun.
And as you over dye, you can actually go 2 or 3 shades down with each one as the dye gets weaker. Is that?
It depends upon the dye stuff. Some give good second baths, some give even good third baths and fourth baths. Cochineal does, logwood does, madder sort of does. Some don't, though. I mean, you use the first bath up, it sucks up all the color, and you try for a second bath and you're looking like beige, okay? Doesn't give much. You kind of learn that through experience or just reading about your dye stuffs. Okay, that's it for now. You've seen the possibilities, and I'll see you later.